Hello and welcome back to Russ's Movie Corner. My name is Russ, and as you can see, I am sitting in front of my movie corner. I have my Armor of God t-shirt on, my Gospel of John movie right next to me. Son of God movie next to me. I'm used to saying Gospel of John because that's usually what I've had there. And today, judging by the frame around me, we are taking on Creaky Blinder once more. This is Creaky Blinder's video, Kent Hovind Says All of Science is Wrong. And as we've discussed in previous parts, Creaky Blinder is making generalization fallacies. Because Kent Hovind is not saying that all of science is wrong, he's only saying that the theory of evolution, and by extension, the 6 origins to life are wrong as well. So, in the last episode, we were, right towards the end, we were talking about how Creaky here was talking about how we could see something that was 46 billion light years away, even though the Earth is only, or even though the universe is only 13.6 billion years old. And my thing on that was, no, we can't, because the problem comes in when you're saying that light, which only left, because if the universe is 13.8 billion years old, then the light that left those galaxies that are supposedly 46 billion years old could not be 46 billion light years away. They would only be like 13.6 billion or 13.5 billion or however many billions of years it takes for a galaxy to form. There's not enough time for those galaxies to have sent their light our way, is the point that Kent Hovind is trying to bring up. And it's the point that I'm trying to bring up. Okay? And then I kind of talked a little bit about how the Lord stretches out the heavens. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but like one of them that's a really good one is... O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty. He wraps himself in light as with a garment. He stretches out the heavens like a tent, and lays the beams of its upper chambers on their waters. He makes the clouds his chariot, and rides on the wings of the wind. He makes the winds his messengers, the flames of fire his servants. So, that is Psalm 104, 1 through 4. And basically, all that's saying there is that the heaven is that he is stretching the heavens out, okay? And that's what Kent ascribes to as well, is that the Lord says that he stretches out the heavens. In multiple places it says that the Lord stretches out the heavens, okay? And I could sit down and I could go through all of these little things about stretching out and all this kind of stuff, which I'm going to be doing in my video debunk of the Bible verses for Flat Earth. So go over and check that playlist out, and there I will cover a lot of that in more detail, okay? But suffice to say, we just don't know, okay? So for someone like Creaky Blinder to stand there and say, well, we know that it's this, no, you don't know, okay? And you're staking it on faith that the people in the scientific community that you ascribe to know, which they don't know, okay? They're guessing, because the James Webb telescope has actually shot holes in the theory of evolution, especially the Big Bang, okay? Because they've been looking and they're going, oh crap, it's now older and like, we're seeing galaxies that are older than the Big Bang itself. And they're rounder and smoother and younger looking than they should be, being that old that far away. So, your Big Bang theory sucks? I'm sorry to say that, but that's kind of what happens, man. I mean, your Big Bang theory is just that. It's a theory that is being shot full of holes right now by the Webb. So, sorry. Let's jump back into this and we'll continue on.
Wait, the universe is still expanding. The Big Bang was an event, a rapid expansion.
Yes, the beginning of time, son. Okay? the beginning of time. If everything is expanding away from a set point in space and time, then that means that all of that matter that was supposedly at that place at that time would be expanding in that direction, which means that you can't have something that is 46 billion light years away because there is not enough time in the universe for the light to get there. Duh!
Not an explosion in the way you think, and you can misrepresent it all you want, Kent. Facts will always be facts, regardless.
No. No. You don't have any facts that the Big Bang actually happened. You don't. So don't sit there and try to say that all of this is a scientific fact. It is a theory, son. Now, don't get it twisted, okay? People in the atheistic community, okay, and in some cases in science have been trying to like say, oh, well, see, this is the word theory means that it's an actual fact. No, it doesn't. The word theory means that it's a theory, that you don't have enough to back it up, okay? But you don't have anything else, so you're trying to redefine the word theory to make it mean something else. Theory is theory, son.
Of who believes them.
I like going up on the sand dune watching the stars. It's amazing here. You won't believe it. You can look at the stars and say, wow, what a mighty God we serve.
And once again, Kent, saying it doesn't make it true.
And once again, Creaky, saying it doesn't make it true. Just because you say that there was some rapid expansion that scientists call the Big Bang doesn't mean that there was actually a rapid expansion that you call the Big Bang happened. Because even in science now they're going, well, maybe the Big Bang didn't happen. Or if it did, maybe it happened a lot longer ago than we thought and we screwed up. Because again, they're seeing things that are further away and there is not enough time for the light to get here. Because how else would you be able to see it? The light hitting my face right now, okay, is from a ring light that I bought. Okay? And if I were to get up and flip the little switch and turn it off, that light goes away. Now, the light from my computer screen would still give a little bit of illumination to my face. Okay? But if I went and turned it back on, that light turns on. But where I see the light turning on and where the camera captures that light turning on is a fraction of a second difference. Why is it a fraction of a second difference? Because it takes that long for the camera sensor to receive that light, register that light, and put it into the actual video that I'm recording. Okay? So the camera is receiving light. Okay? And you're receiving that as a transmission on YouTube right now. Okay? When you're watching this, you're watching me through YouTube. Am I literally sitting here talking to you in the moment as it happened, or was this filmed before and uploaded to YouTube? Is this a live stream? No. This is a video. So what am I doing? Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Probably as of the upload of this video, I'm probably sitting in my parents' house, having my weekly dinner, having my weekly time with them, because that's what I do. Okay? I go to church, I listen to the pastor, and I go to my parents, I actually go to a life group, and then I go to church, listen to the pastor speak, and then I come home, and then I spend some time with my parents, and while I'm doing that, I'm uploading these videos. Okay? So as of the upload of this video, as this video is going up on the internet, and as people are watching it, what are they seeing? They're seeing an image of me as it was recorded days earlier. Because you don't know when it was recorded, you just know when it was uploaded. So, am I sitting in this chair as you're watching this? No, I'm not. I'm off doing other things. Okay? That's the point. The light that you're seeing, that's hitting me, that's going into the camera sensor, and me talking to you, that's completely different than where I am at in the future when you're watching this video. I could be filming another video, I could be sitting down and talking with somebody, I could be doing something completely different. But I'm not going to be doing the exact same thing the exact same way. Does that make sense? So it is, supposedly, with the space and all of the objects that we see out in space. That they're so far away that it takes millions and billions of years for light to get here, and that means that these galaxies are millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of years away. If something is 46 billion light years away, it takes 46 billion years for light to reach us, even if we are reaching back through time. Okay? If we can see it, then it had to have existed before time began. The 0 point. Whatever that 0 point is. If time is absolute, it started at 0 and then started forward. If you ascribe to time, time had a beginning. Okay? Be it the Big Bang Theory, or be it creation, where it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Because we know that the universe is not eternal. Because it is run by laws. And we know that entropy happens. Okay? Second law of thermodynamics. Okay? And I'm sorry to say that, you violated the first one with Alan Guth there when he said nothing happened and you said, yeah, maybe that's the way it happened. You're violating physics, son. And now you're violating again with entropy. Because you're saying that we can see things that are further back in time than we actually have a thing, and since all things decay, that light wouldn't have had time to reach us. Okay? Because even if we took the Webb and we peer back in time, okay, even if we were to say that the Webb could peer back 1 billion years in time, that's still 45.6 billion years. But it's not peering back through time. It's seeing the universe as it is right this second. When it looks, it is just capturing an image of a light it can see. The light that are captured by the mirrors. That's it. So, son, you can't tell me that you can look backwards in time 46 billion years when the Earth, when the universe is supposedly only 13.8. It doesn't work like that, Creaky. And if you, sitting there as an atheist, are listening to this, and you hear Creaky Blinder say that, you should be like, well, now wait a minute. How? We don't have a time machine. The Webb telescope is not a time machine, neither is the Hubble. We're just capturing images as we see them. No matter how old the light is, we're just capturing images with said light. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm capturing images using light on a photo sensor in my webcam. Okay? My webcam is capturing this image as you're seeing it. But am I still sitting in this chair when you see this? Maybe, maybe not. Like I said, I could be filming another video. I could be out doing something else. I could be going grocery shopping. I could be doing other things. I could be filming a painting video. There's a lot of things that I could do. But I'm not necessarily going to be doing this. Does that make sense? Where I'm at right now as this video is being captured is I'm doing this video. And I'm making this video. And I'm showing you. I'm poking the holes in the theory because I'm saying you can only see the light that is captured by the sensor. If I were to turn that light off and sit back down and talk, the only light that would be coming would be the light from my computer screen. Okay? Now, it would probably be fairly light because, where Creaky's stuff is, it's fairly light in terms of his. So that would be giving off enough ambient light that you could probably see my face, but it would be very dark. Okay? And webcams are designed to try to gather as much light as possible, and if they're not receiving much light, then basically what they do is they widen their own iris to try to let in as much light as possible. Okay? And then what they do is after they get done with that, they just try to capture as much as they can. Okay? But if I turned off my camera right now and kept on talking, would you hear or see without being in the same room? If I turned off my camera? No. I could continue talking about this for the next 10 years, but I'd be talking to myself. Unless I sat down, turned on my camera, and continued the conversation. Or continued talking. And then uploaded it somewhere where people could see it. And that's basically what we're doing when we take pictures of galaxies and stars and things that are so distant, okay, is we're just trying to view those objects, however far away they may be. We're just trying to take snapshots of them to learn more about our universe. And we don't know how far away they are, because again, we just took the letter C, okay, and we said, we're going to take this letter and we're going to make it the arbitrary speed of light. And so they just did. And even Einstein was like, we're doing this, but it's wrong. So, which is it? Creaky Blinder would have you believe that it's 100% true and correct and everything's a fact, when in reality, we don't know, because we have been able to speed up particles and photons of light to much faster than c, the constant, okay, what they say the speed of light is, and we've also been able to slow light down to where it barely moves, to like almost stopped. Hence, why the hell would we think that light can't move faster in a vacuum? Because that's how they do it at CERN. With the Large Hadron Collider. Think about it.
Why do you feel the need to serve anyone? I'll take my chances at life without having to bow my knee and live a life of servitude to a maniac.
You don't have any proof that he's a maniac, son. At least you're not providing any proof that he's a maniac. You're just saying that he's a maniac. Do you have any proof that God's a maniac? Or are you just saying that because that's what you've heard people like Richard Dawkins, your Pope, and Aaron Ra, another disciple of his, say? Because I'm willing to bet that you don't have any evidence that God is a maniac. At least none that any true Christian could debunk. Okay? Or even Jew could debunk. Okay? You're just saying that because you like your lifestyle. You love your sin. It's fine. You're just living Romans 1, son. You're free to believe what you want, but don't be surprised. Because I'll say this to Creaky. You better be 150,000% sure of what happens to your soul when you die. Because if you're wrong, the consequences are eternal, son. Now, I notice that you have tattoos and you have piercings and you have, little loops in your ears and all that kind of stuff. And the Bible clearly says, don't make cuttings on your flesh or marks on your flesh. Are there people who are Christian that are tattooed? Yes. Are there people that are Christian that have their ears pierced and have piercings? Yes. But they've repented, you haven't. Okay? And no one ever said that you couldn't have that stuff. The Bible just says don't do it. Okay? Does that stop people from doing it? No. People do it all the time. Okay? I'm just mentioning this. I'm not trying to attack you personally. Don't take this as a personal attack. I'm just saying, you have tattoos, okay, on your neck, and you have loops in your ears. Now, should you ever become a Christian, don't do it. You're free to continue wearing that stuff, mostly because it's permanent. You can't get rid of it, unless you're willing to hideously scar yourself. But don't do it again. Okay? That's what the Bible says to do. Does that sound like the words of a maniac? I don't think that's the words of a maniac. See, these people don't have any concept of who God truly is, because they cherry pick verses and then say, well, because God says this, he's a maniac. Because God said that, he's a maniac. Son, I've been a Christian a lot longer than you ever will be, okay? And I can tell you right now that God's not the maniac here. The maniac here is you.
But I feel like that's me going off on a tangent. We are here to show people how completely insane the creationist belief is. And I think it's going pretty well so far.
No, I'd say it's going pretty horrible so far, because you haven't provided any proof, any scientific proof to back up your claims. Plus, you haven't provided any proof that our claim is maniacal or wrong. Just saying it doesn't make it so. Does that make sense? And the claims that I'm making about the Webb telescope can be easily backed up. In fact, I will link down below a video that goes into detail about the stuff, the James Webb telescope. Okay, and you can just Google James Webb destroys Big Bang, and you will see a ton of stuff where people are now going, we probably need to try to get a new theory because this isn't working, folks. So, what's your new theory? Because obviously, you can't say that something is older than the actual universe. It doesn't work like that. At least according to physics. Because physics is built on c being the universal constant of the speed of light. And I know some people are going to go, well, but you say that God created all the physics. I did. But I also said that God could create light however he wanted to. And judging by how light acts when it hits a camera sensor, okay, like a lot of times when I'm sitting there and I'm doing things and I move my hand, and then a fraction of a second later my hand moves on the camera, okay, I can say with certainty that, yeah, what you're seeing out there, if it is truly way older than the universe, there's no way that we could see that light. Because it wouldn't have had time to travel here yet. And even if, again, if you were, taking a picture, you're not looking back through time. You're just taking a picture of what you can see. So how does that light get there? If that thing is 46 billion years old and we're looking, let's say, 1 billion miles through space, I mean, for something to be 46 billion light years away for us to be able to see it, we would have to assume that we're looking at least 13.7 billion years, or billion light years, 17 or 13.7 billion light years through space. And we would have to assume that that galaxy, the light, could travel that distance to reach that and still be that far away. Which means it would still have to travel much faster than the actual speed of light that we're looking at. Does that make sense? Because otherwise, you can't say with certainty that that galaxy is that many billions of years old. You can't call it a fact. You just can't. You're staking it on faith. Now, atheists don't like that answer because they don't like to believe that evolution is a faith-based science. It really is. Evolution is a faith-based science. They have to stake it on faith that this is how it happened, because if they didn't, well, then they're in trouble. Because there is a God, and there are consequences for your sin.
Let me know what you think down in the comment section, because like Kent's God, I see everything. Well, I see every comment anyway. And just very quickly before we move on, I want to say a massive thank you to Janine. I won't say your last name, I just want, for clicking on my Amazon wish list and sending me this swanky new microphone that you can't see, but here's a picture. Does my voice sound extra smexy? Thanks, Janine.
But some of you atheists look at the stars and say, wow, that's billions of years ago for a Big Bang.
Do we? Well, I can only speak for myself, but when I look up at the night sky and see the stars, all I think is tidy, I can see the stars. It really isn't that deep, Ken, but I suppose now that you bring it up, it is pretty amazing to think that when we see the light coming from the stars in the night sky, that it left those stars billions of years ago.
Did it? Because again, you can't prove that that picture right there is billions of years old. You can say that based on the assumption that that the speed of light is a constant, and that's how we, judged how far light could potentially travel in a year, and then how much that it could do. Okay? But we've been able to, send signals out to the probe, out to the Juno probe at Pluto, much faster than before. Because of improvements to technology, the signals travel much faster. So instead of it taking, back when the original Voyager probes were going out, when they took pictures of, Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune and Uranus, and they even captured a small image of Pluto, it took a few years for those to get back at the speed of transmission. But now we've cut that down. That is significantly cut down, because we sent the Juno probe out there, and at the conventional speed it took quite a few years to get out to Pluto, but once it was out there, we started receiving images within about a couple of months, which means that the transmission times between Voyager, which was launched in the 70s, and when it got out there was kind of in the 80s, and when it was received, was years, and now it's months. So is it really so hard to believe that if we can cut down the transmission times that far, that we wouldn't be able to see things we wouldn't be able to see light and assume that it's not billions of years old? I don't understand that, son. That doesn't make any sense to me. How can we have a leap forward in technology like that, but still believe that light only travels at this one constant speed, when now we can actually make it transmit much faster, which means that it's going much faster than c, the constant speed of light that your side came up with, by the way, as an arbitrary number. So why would we think that that's going to be the way that it is? Have you gone out there and measured every single photon that has left the sun? Have you gone out there and measured every single photon from every star in the galaxy? Have you gone out there and measured the photon from every star in the universe? No? Oh, well, I assumed you had. Sorry, my mistake. I thought you were God. Turns out you're not. You're just a man who believes in faulty assumptions.
Thanks for reminding me how mind-blowingly amazing the universe is, Ken.
You believe the big lie. How much matter is there in the universe? How much matter? Let's see. How much material? Well, let's see. Dark matter is 27%. 68% of the universe is dark energy. So it adds up less than 5% of the universe is what we observe, is what they're saying. From NASA. Oh, you got to believe them.
Well, you haven't got to believe NASA, but to be fair, they published it, and I would imagine that before publishing it, they checked it out first.
How would they check it out first, son? Because how much of the night sky have they photographed? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not believing in a flat earth, neither is Kent. Okay? But what we're trying to say is that how does NASA know how much of the visible universe, that is, things that emit light, that we can see, is only 5% of matter? Because even if they're true, and dark matter makes up 27%, if you took that dark matter and then all of the visible matter in the universe and all of the invisible matter in the universe, not just the dark energy, but all the invisible matter in the universe, and tried to squeeze that down into a dot smaller than a period on a page, can you see that period right there? I'm betting you can't. Because the camera resolution isn't that big, okay? And the angular size of that is pretty damn small. Can you say that can you squeeze anything down into the size of that period? I'm willing to bet you can't. Believe me, we've tried. Look at the hydraulic press videos. Can those people squeeze things down into the size of a period? At the end of a sentence? Come on now, be honest with yourself. That's what we're trying to say. The theory itself is ludicrous. Now, I'm willing to bet that if you were to squeeze it down into, something the size of a few light years, maybe you might be able to squeeze down all the 27% dark matter, 5% visible matter, and everything else we can't see into a space that size. Maybe. But that's a big maybe. But they're saying that it was the size of a period on a page. That's Kent's point. Is that they are taking matter, visible matter that you can see, like this knife, for instance. Could you squeeze this knife into something the size of a period on the end of a page? I mean, could Superman? I'm willing to bet he couldn't. Because at some point, the molecules become too dense and you can't squeeze it past a certain point. Okay? So you couldn't have all of that matter squeezed into something the size of a period on a page. That's all Kent's saying. And Creaky is doing the Dillahunty dodge here in trying to dodge around the fact that, oh, my theory looks dumb. He's just trying to go, no, Kent, you don't really understand, do you? NASA just said it, so we have to trust that they know what they're talking about because they verified it. How do you know they verified it? Have they photographed every square inch of the night sky? Have they pointed their telescopes in every single conceivable direction to take pictures? And we're talking not just 360 degrees. We're talking 360 degrees in a sphere. Okay? Because if we look at it, okay, the visible universe that we can see, okay, because if we were at the center of this sphere, okay, that's the visible universe that we can see. And you're telling me that NASA has pointed the telescope in every single directions around that, towards that in the sphere. Come on now, be honest with me. Have they done that? If they haven't, then no, they don't know how much is visible matter. Okay? Because they haven't pointed the telescope every single conceivable direction to be able to photograph every square inch of the visible sky at night. Because just the one picture, okay, the one picture from the Hubble called 3,000 Galaxies, okay, was if you took a ballpoint pen, just a ballpoint pen, okay, hold it at arm's length in the night sky. Doesn't matter where you point it, just point it up at the night sky. Just hold it like this so that the thing's pointing out like this, okay? Where the ball is on the tip of a ballpoint pen, that's the size of the sky that they photographed, that they found those 3,000 galaxies in. Now, assuming that they're doing the math, that is a big assumption, of course. Did they calculate that out to the whole entire night sky? Is that something that they see everywhere they've pointed the Hubble? Because I've only ever seen that photograph once. So I don't know. Are they taking those photographs everywhere? That's my point. Okay? And if they're not doing that, then they have no clue how much is visible matter. It could be more like 15 or 20%. It could be 30%. It could be higher than the amount of dark matter. We don't know. Because all we can see with our naked eye, if that's what they're counting as matter, and then they're saying, oh, that's only like 5%, then yeah, they don't have a clue. Because the universe is truly a gigantic friggin' place. I mean, why do you think we call it space? It's pretty damn big. Okay?
Only an idiot would believe something on faith alone, wouldn't they?
Oh, really? You wouldn't believe something on faith alone, would ya? Yeah, like, have faith that we know that this layer is 10,000 years old, and this layer is 100,000 years old, and this layer is 2 million. And that we know that because this bone here says it. Well, how do you know that bone is that old? Because it's in this layer. Right. Like, you're not taking anything on faith, son. Or that c means that, oh, the speed of light is just this one constant and we can't change it. Yet for some odd reason, back in the 60s and 70s when we were launching probes, it took a long time for signals to come, but now it doesn't take that long. Son, you stake everything on faith and you don't even see it. So don't you sit there and tell us that we're staking it all on faith when you're doing the exact same thing. You know what we call that? Hypocrisy.
Question for you big bangers. If there was a big bang and all the particles are flying out in space faster than the speed of light. I taught math, algebra, geometry, and trig. I got a question for you. If there's a big bang, the particles would be getting further apart the longer you wait, wouldn't they?
Their size is controlled by the strength of the fundamental forces that hold atoms and subatomic particles together. And as far as we know, that hasn't changed.
So if it hasn't changed, then how do you know that the red shift is the only shift we're seeing and not a blue shift? Which is shorter wavelength, things are getting closer to us. Come on now. Come on. Answer the question. You didn't let him finish. You had to try to cut in and try to say things where, oh, it's uniformitarianism. Yeah, right, son. Like layers like rock layers suddenly bending upwards magically. And as if by magic. Yeah, right. Good luck with that.
Instead, it's the space between galaxies that's increasing.
How do you know that? How about the ones that are decreasing because they're colliding? Well, those aren't spreading out. How about the fact that the Andromeda Galaxy is actually getting closer to us and not further away? Because even your own side says, yeah, in a few billion years, that Andromeda Galaxy is going to collide with ours. That's not getting further apart. So no, son, you can't prove that.
They're getting further apart as space itself expands.
No, it doesn't. We're assuming they are. Because Doppler observed it. He observed a red shift in certain stars, and he just kind of magnified that to the whole entire galaxy. He was like, oh, everything's expanding like a loaf of raisin bread. That was literally in all my astronomy books growing up, earth science books, all that stuff. The universe is expanding like a loaf of raisin bread. And we're the raisins, and then everything in between is space. It's literally what they said. Then why is it that the Andromeda Galaxy isn't getting further away from us? Why is it coming towards us? Why is it going to collide with us? Why are galaxies colliding together? If they're supposedly getting further apart from each other, why are they colliding together? Yeah, you can't answer that, can you? Didn't think so.
Now, I'm quite happy to admit that I am not a scientist or a science teacher. See, Kent, we do have something in common.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Because Kent has a legitimate degree in education. You do not, son. And you've already admitted that you're not a scientist, which means that I have more scientific knowledge than you do, because I actually went out into the field and studied geology. Okay? And I actually have the field journal to prove it. Okay? I mean, I have all the notes of all the different, calculations and stuff and all the different things, okay, from all my stuff. Which means I know more than you do. Especially about geology. And the sheer fact that you're sitting there trying to proclaim that everything that you spout is a fact is hilarious. When we know that scientists only count something as fact when it is observable, repeatable, testable, and demonstrable. Okay? And if you don't have those 4 criteria, it is not a law. And when something is not a law, what do we call it? Oh, that's right, a theory. Good luck disputing that.
Both not science teachers.
Actually, he was. And you can't prove that he wasn't. So that means that you're lying. And I'm glad you're not a teacher, because you'd be lying to students about stuff. Because you're sitting on the internet lying about this stuff all the time. Just like when you said that Kent Hovind lies about all of science. That he says all of science is wrong. He doesn't say all of science is wrong. He's just disputing the stuff that you take credence in. And so you're going to say, well, he says all of science is wrong. No. What has Kent Hovind said about science? Things we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate. Can you study it? Can you observe it? Can you test it? And can you demonstrate it? Now, we can study and observe the stars. But can we test stars? Do you have a star in your backyard that you can test? That you can run tests on? Like, granted, we've been studying the star at the center of our solar system, but can we say with any certainty that we know everything there is to know about that star? No. Can you demonstrate that things are moving away? No. No, you can't. Not every single thing. Because again, they've noticed things about stars. And you, Creaky, are ignoring the fact that we have observed things that run contrary to the redshift. So you can't say that the redshift is out there. Okay? So I'm just going to run this back just a tiny bit. Okay? So it's at 11:33. So it says, every second after the Big Bang, particles would be getting further apart. How did they turn around and come back towards the Earth to give a blue shift? You'll notice he didn't allow Kent to finish his statement there. How did they turn around and come back towards the Earth to give a blue shift? Okay? Okay, I need to go back just a tiny bit because it was 11:33.
Scientist or a science teacher. See, Kent, we do have something in common. We're both not science teachers.
So again, this is something that a lot of atheists say about Kent Hovind. Oh, you're not a science teacher. You were never a science teacher. You don't know what you're talking about. But they never bring up any, credible thing to back up what Kent claims, or to refute what Kent claims. Like I said, Kent comes in and asks a legitimate question, and they all do the Dillahunty dodge. Okay? The Dillahunty dodge is you sidestep the question and you attack the person. All he did there was, see, Kent, we're both not science teachers. That's an ad hominem attack, because he's attacking Kent's credentials, not the argument that Kent was bringing up, which is we don't just see a red shift. If there was this big explosion or expansion or whatever the fuck you want to call it, Creaky, I don't give a shit. But if you have it going out in all directions and there's supposedly red shifts, then how in the hell are we seeing blue shifts? You haven't answered that. You sidestepped it and then started attacking Kent's credentials, which is something all of these atheists do, especially these ones on YouTube, like Creaky Blinder, like Aaron Raw, like Dave Farina. They all say the same damn thing. They all attack Kent Hovind and his credentials rather than trying to attack the points he brings up. That was the purpose of my Dave Farina video. Okay, was my Dave Farina video was pointing out that everything that he was accusing Kent of doing, he did in the debate. And if you go back and watch the debate between Kent and Dave, okay, every time Kent would try to bring something up to Dave, Dave would sidestep and grab his Bible and be like, well, but the Bible says, and I just want to talk about this. And he's going, no, you said you wanted this debate to be about evolution, not about the Bible. And so then he comes after the thing, okay, and he makes this 15-minute long video where he sits there and goes, Kent, you're like a greasy pig. You don't understand anything because you just sidestepped what I wanted to talk about and you just did the Gish Gallop and you just didn't care. And I'm like, Dave, you did the Dillahunty dodge the whole time. And you did it in your debate with James Tour. I just watched a video. I haven't watched the entire debate, but I just watched a video by Nate Sala from the channel Be Wise, okay? And he does debate stuff. He does pastor stuff because he was a debate teacher for a long time, so he likes to, analyze, how do people act during debates and, how do these people do things. And it was so funny because he had he did a video on the James Tour Dave Farina debate, okay, where basically James Tour. Now this was something where I watched a Kent Hovind video. Okay, it was a Whackin' Atheist Wednesday video from a while back, where he was talking about Dave Farina and his response video to James Tour, where he was claiming that after their debate, James Tour went out and said all these things and blah, 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 because Dave Farina went home and, like, emailed him, like, 100 papers or some god-awful amount. And then he's standing there making all these random claims. Like, oh, James, you never read any of the papers I said. Your audience doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Making all of these unsubstantiated claims. Okay? Yet, watching the debate, James Tour walked up to the chalkboard, drew out different chemicals on the board, okay, on a blackboard, and was like, okay, here's the 5, like organic compounds that are needed for life. You show me right now, come up here to the chalkboard and write down exactly how, in your opinion, in your estimation, how these would have had to connect together naturalistically to make the first life. Dropped his chalk and stood right there. And Dave Farina goes, well, and you can see him, he's kind of dealing, kind of dinking around on his computer, and he goes, well, there's this one paper that says, and he's like, show me. Don't just point to some other person's work. Show me. You say it happened. Show me how it happened. And he's like, oh, James, you just don't understand. You just don't know because you haven't read these papers. He's like, I've read the papers. And not a single one of them has been able to explain naturalistically how this could have happened in water. So show me how it could happen in water. Walk up here and show me how this happens. And Dave Farina just stood there, did the Dillahunty dodge, and did the Gish Gallop, and just yelled and screamed at his opponent because he had no leg to stand on. And that's exactly what Creaky Blinder is doing. That's exactly what Aaron Raw does. It's exactly what Matt Dillahunty does. It's exactly what all of the atheists do because they don't have any clue what their own theory states. And when it's brought up to them, they tend to just kind of like dodge to the side and then claim that we just don't understand science. Son, it doesn't work like that. And you need to understand that if you're going to be out here on YouTube and you're going to be putting your face out there and you're going to be telling lies, you can bet that people like me are going to come out of the woodwork and say, well, what makes you so qualified to say that Kent is not? Beyond just saying, he's wrong, I'm right, I win. Because that's all he's saying. I mean, he literally sat there and said, I don't have any science degree, I'm not a scientist, and so therefore Kent and I are the same because Kent's not a scientist and wasn't a science teacher. Can you prove that unequivocally, that he wasn't a science teacher? Because I can go into the records and I can show you exactly where he was a teacher for years. That he did actually teach at the high school level. Now, did Dave Farina teach at the high school level? Yeah, for a couple years. And then he got a job as a professor, well, not a professor, I should say. He got a job as a teacher at a junior college for a few years, and then he started making YouTube videos, and then he quit his job doing that and made his channel Professor Dave Explains. But I went out and I started looking around, and my problem with a lot of these kind of people, especially like Dave Farina and Scam Man Dan and those guys, is that they say that, if it's not 4-year university accreditation, it doesn't count. And I'm sitting there going, now wait a minute. How does that work? Because there are technical colleges out there, like the one that I went to, that are accredited, that are not the exact same thing as your vaunted university bullshit, but it's still accreditation. There are Bible colleges that have accreditations. That's part of what Patriot Bible College is. Okay? Are there diploma mills? Yes. I will say that there are. I don't believe the Patriot Bible College is a diploma mill. Okay? Because they don't just send you a diploma because you do a couple classes. Okay? It's not like a charter college. Okay, where you do a couple of classes online and then they send you a degree in the mail. Okay? That's not what this is. Okay? You have to complete certain programs. And if you complete it to their satisfaction, they send you a degree. And they are accredited. Now, can I prove that they were accredited, many years ago when Kent was going? No, I can't prove that. But no one else has proven that either. That's my point, is that no one else has proven that. So you can't say with any certainty that Kent's degrees are false and yours are okay. Because if you're going to say that one type of college degree is okay, but another type is not, then son, you just invalidated all of college. Because I could just as easily say, well, you know what, 4-year university degrees are worthless. Because I know plenty of people with 4-year university degrees that don't have jobs except at McDonald's. So what makes their degree any better than mine? When I actually studied for 2 solid years and had a job, an actual job. And I have more understanding of physics and chemistry than someone like Dave Farina. How does that work? And he's got a degree in organic chemistry, for heaven's sake. So how does that work? You see what I'm saying? Okay? I'm not trying to say that those people don't know anything at all or are completely ignorant. I'm saying what makes Creaky Blinder, so big that he can talk about this stuff. If he's not a scientist and he's not refuting the points that Kent brings up, what makes him qualified to say, he's wrong, I'm right, I win? Because you have to back up your points, son. That's how it works in actual debating. And if you're not going to back up your points, then shut your pie hole and go back to flat earth. Because that's your wheelhouse, son. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, let me know what you think of this series so far. And I'm just going to keep going on. I've got about 9 minutes left of this. And I'm pretty sure like a minute or 2 of that is probably going to be his outro. So when we get to that point, we'll stop. Okay, so probably about 1 or 2 more videos will be done. And as we say, we will see you on the next one.